Synology DiskStation DS1522 Plus review. The DS1522 Plus may have a few issues, but it includes plenty of great features worth the price. It is ideal for work, school, and play, which make it perfect if you are just starting out with your NAS. The DS1522 Plus looks similar to its predecessor, the DS1521 Plus, and is also priced similarly. It's good to know that this is an aesthetically appealing machine. The timing, dimensions, and ports of the two models are almost identical with only very subtle differences. The HP ProLiant DL380E Gen 9 server has a lot of different features, including excellent options for adding extra storage to the unit. However, it is different in respect of an access panel on the rear of the unit for an optional 10 GBE network adapter, and the placement of the 4 1GB ports is shifted slightly to make room for this. Connecting to a Synology NAS is sometimes difficult because of the slot design. This Ethernet card allows you to connect to 10, 100, or even 1000 base T10G networks. There's also a 1 GB option and 2.5 GB and 5 GB options as well. Unfortunately, not all business networks can sustain a 10 GBE connection, so you may want to choose the less expensive technology. Synology makes some great NAS servers with a 2.5 gigabits per second network throughput, but they do so at the expense of an inconvenient card design pattern. Even though this card's manufacturer is a non-proprietary, they still use the PCIe 3.0 spec, which provides 2 lanes of 16 bits each. This means that it can only provide 10 GBE bandwidth at most, without overloading the card. Installing your Raven Micro ATX motherboard can be a painless process after inserting the card and 2 screws. The hard drive and memory cables are in place without needing any tools beforehand. The design of the Synology NAS that just launched at CES differs from models you might currently own only in small ways. The big difference to look out for is the use of AMD's Ryzen embedded R1600 processor, which is this NAS' first on-board computer. DS1522 Plus is an AMD Ryzen CPU with 4 to 8 cores and 16 threads. It has a power usage efficiency of up to 91%. This is already significantly higher than the competition, which means you get more for your money. The Ryzen R1600 and Celeron N5105 seem to be very comparable for most customers, with little to differentiate them in a direct comparison. The Celeron is a 4-core processor, while the R1600 has hyper-threading, which enables it to handle 2 extra threads. In essence, the Ryzen has a much higher base clock of 2.6 GHz and a much faster turbo boost that is 30% greater than the Celeron's. These are important differences when it comes to your productivity and performance in comparison to other machines. And these are just the few parts of why the DS1522 Plus ended up in the R1600. While the memory speed on the Celeron might be marginally better, the Ryzen SoC can access more RAM, up to 32 GB, not 16 GB on the Intel chip. As with all Synology desktop NAS, the DS1522 Plus is extraordinarily easy to configure. The caveat is that it has a few quirks that could trip up someone who is new to this kind of system. Synology uses NVMe drives for its storage, and if you use a single drive, it means caching is exclusively read-only, something that doesn't happen with typical hard disks. In order to run write caching, you need 2 NVMe SSDs of the same brand and size. Making use of smaller SATA SSDs means you can expect a lot of improvement without having to upgrade your PC. 256 GB NVMe doesn't seem like a big investment for some dramatic performance improvements, and without these enhancements, it's largely pointless running 10 GBE or 5 GBE networking. Many companies now find it important to allow multiple people to use the same networking bandwidth. The other configuration twist is that while you can aggregate the 4 1GB LAN ports with a suitable network switch and the 10 GBE port if you have that adapter, that bandwidth will be shared between multiple users, not focused on one individual. Synology has been promising SMB multi-channel as part of DSM for some time and was supposed to be in DSM 7.1. Not yet. Until the feature is limiting performance to the best of 1 port per user.